Film all the time anyway, even if you have distractions around you. Number two, this is actually related to number one, but like go out and film in public. I think like if you film yourself in public, you will not ever like fear the camera when you're at home. It's like easier. And that's the point, right? Like if you film yourself at home and it's easy, then your home base is actually like the place you can create the most amount of video. Or a quiet place is actually the place you can create the most amount of video because there's really nothing to be distracted about. And you feel at peace. When you're outside, when you're around people, it's hectic, it's crazy. You have to like film, stop, film, stop, film, stop. And like a lot of times you have to recreate like all these emotions that you might feel or like, you know, your mindset. And it's like, you know, it's nerve-wracking because it's like you want to get like the best footage possible, you know, for the scene. And sometimes you just can't. So you're like, oh, I have all this footage, let me just go ahead and like do a voiceover instead for the video. But that's what I would recommend, right? Like when you film yourself in public, and the easiest way to do this, I feel like, is go to places where it's still kind of quiet. You can probably film yourself at a park. For the most part, and I talked about this yesterday, if you film yourself at a park, especially in the morning, most people are not going to bother you. In fact, most people are probably just going to be like, hey, cool, right? You know, smile. And the other thing I would say is, if you worry too much about what people do, or if you're worried or hopeful that like people are gonna smile at you, like the actual default response, right? Like that's like a good response. Like the actual response is most people are indifferent. They won't even look at you. So that's like my most negative. I've never, like in like all the filming I've done, I've never had like a truly negative experience unless I was bothering someone, right? Like if I was actually in someone's way, or I was like, you know, in someone's store and they didn't want me to film there, you know, that's like where, you know, stuff can happen where like they'll stop you from filming. If you get stopped from filming, and I realized this yesterday, you can always pick up the camera and start recording again somewhere else. It's not like real life, and I feel like this is where we need to disassociate from like real life, because like if you make a mistake in real life, it feels like you're like humiliated because like, oh, you know, the video didn't go well. Like when you go into the editing room, you can just cut it out and no one knows it happened, right? You can make the video so perfect. You can cut like your best moments from like wherever you were and stitch it together, and people will still watch it. Like you can power through a lot of this, and like filming yourself gives you a lot of opportunity to stop, take a moment to pause, and then to come back later and like, you know, provide like a different insight, provide like a different camera angle. And you need to do that anyway, like when you're making long form content, because if it's always one angle, most people are going to get bored after a while. They want to see a lot of different like things, especially when they're watching a video. So this we'll get into as step 3. So step 3, like, yes, you do want to talk. You want to get all of the thoughts out. You want to warm up as much as possible. Then like later on in the day after you've filmed as much as you did, right? You probably are going to be like, I could have said this. I could have said that. Or, whoa, look, interesting view. Isn't this cool? You know why you're doing that? Because now you're actually warmed up. That was the point of exercise 1, to just start the morning creative process, to make yourself really truly think and be like, oh, what could I talk about today? So now you're ready to go pro, you're ready for prime time, because you'll see interesting stuff in your day. You'll be like, oh, magic cards. I like magic cards. I want to play magic cards. Does anyone else like magic cards? And I'm actually asking, you know, it's like, because I have made it a point to like, you know, buy all these card games, like this Gundam deck build box, this commander deck, and I have like some friends at work who want to play. So, you know, I want to get better at this stuff because it's fun, like learning like these strategies, and you know, like it's fun playing adult games, like in some ways, right? Like, you know, you might say, what, an adult game? Like this is an adult? Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like modern chess, or, you know, checkmate, like checkers, all that fun stuff, right? But it's more about like putting together strategy, figuring out the best cards, and then like using them in organized way to like win a particular game. And then there's also weird ways you can win too. It's kind of funny. And this is what like my friend who's really passionate about Magic the Gathering was telling me. He was like showing me all these different, you know, deck lists. So it's like when you're playing a game like Magic the Gathering and you're having a lot of fun, that's when you're naturally feeling really good and you want to point it out on film. In fact, we naturally do this anyway. Like when we're having a good time, what does everybody do? What does your girlfriend do? What does your boyfriend do? Bust out the camera. We're all like, oh, we're having a good time. Take a selfie, you know, like highlight reels, right? That's when you're feeling the best. And so like, you're obviously gonna have better video. So you wanna have that better video lined up, because that makes for the interesting beats like throughout your day, like when you're filming yourself for social media. if you want to do like a really good video and you want to like have it in a hybrid way, then you're going to want to say stuff, you know, in the morning, like when you're like trying to get it out to be creative, and then go back and then enjoy your day, do stuff like this, you know, go out to the mall, go out to the beach, you know, go have a, you know, great workout. You're going to feel even better, and you're going to have better things to say. And so now you can take that particular parts of the video and stitch it together with what you were saying earlier, and now it becomes more coherent, because it's like, oh, you know, both of these things like kind of fit. Like, okay, he's talking about this, but he's actually doing it too, and you kind of see it as B-roll. And then people are like, hey, this guy is kind of interesting. I want to actually follow this person, you know, because he's not just saying it, but he's actually living it. You know, they are actually living it. They're doing things that are interesting. Our job as creators, right? This is probably point 4. Our job as creators is to make sure that when we look at these videos, we're not just bombarding somebody with lots and lots of visual, you know, cinematography and hooks, because that's not interesting. It's like, you know, dopamine chasing, if you will. What is going to keep someone like investing is if they start to feel this video somehow helps me feel like I could feel like that person that I'm watching, right? If you feel like after you watch like, you know, a video on YouTube, let's say it's Mr. Beast, I'm just throwing this out there. If you feel like, you know, you watched it and you're like, wow, this was really fun. Like I actually felt like I was with Mr. Beast on this island, you know, and it was a good use of my time. I got to travel with him and see stuff that I wouldn't normally see. You would do that again. You would binge watch that, right? And that's kind of like, you know, the 4th most important thing I would say is learn how to make stuff that's binge worthy. And so this is what led me actually into like wanting to move to long form content. A lot of people ask me like, why are you just jumping off, you know, Instagram and TikTok? And like, I'm not jumping off per se completely. I still like those places, but I feel like I, as you know, a consumer of my own channel, want to like come back and watch stuff and be like, oh, if I watch this, is this worth my time? You know, because I have all these questions about social media, and if I can listen to someone talk about social media in like a really interesting way and like how to like actually effectively do it, even if that's me, I'll watch it again and I'll be like, yeah, this was a good use of my time. I got to learn how to like structure videos. I learned how to like, you know, think about like good shots. I learned how to like have a framework logistically to like be able to record, because I'm a busy person, you know. And honestly, like I like this guy's vibe. He taught me a lot about like, you know, structure, vibing, emotional relatability. We'll talk about that actually right now too. The relatability factor is already built in, I think, with YouTube and even Instagram, TikTok. Like, you are already relatable if you're coming onto this channel and you're talking about topics that most people would want to listen to, like gaming, TCG. That's relatable. A lot of people do it. You know, if you're talking about tech, a lot of people do it. If you're talking about, you know, fitness, a lot of people are doing it. It's relatable by default. So you don't have to be like, oh, like, what is relatable? How do I be more relatable? You just get into it. You know what else is relatable? This is the thing that I miss out on a lot. A lot of people miss out on a lot. But like, relatability means like you are a human. You have flaws. You have, you know, things that you trip over your own words, right? And I used to be like, man, like, I don't want to show this. I don't want to show sneeze on camera. I don't want to show like, you know, mistakes on camera. But like, when you do that, the other side goes, whoa, you made a mistake, but he's still going, you know. And that's relatable. You don't want to throw it away. You want to be like, okay, there's a lot of noise going on in my life. There's a lot of, you know, craziness happening in my life. That's relatable, because like the other side is probably experiencing that too. They're probably stuck in traffic. They're probably having like, you know, a crappy day. Like, you know, maybe someone like, you know, flipped them off in traffic, or, you know, maybe they're like late for their work, or those are real world problems. We all deal with the same things. And that's what's going to make you relatable, when you can talk about those things. When people are going like, this guy gets it, or this person gets it, you know. And so for me, it's about not trying to make every video perfect, right? We could cut, like, that's the job of the editing, like to edit out all the dull moments. But like, I would push back a little bit and I'd be like, you know, was it really a dull moment, or was this relatable? Where do you think this fits in our structure, right? Like, yes, you want like a lot of the amazing, larger than life moments to happen, you know, especially at the beginning for, you know, like these reels and YouTube. But then later on, like, as the person has already like decided to invest their time with you, now that's where you want to open up and like give like honest, you know, structured content that is relatable, and they can see, oh yes, you are like me. You are actually going through this process, whatever it might be. You're struggling through it too, but I see like with you like a path forward. And so that makes me want to like follow you more and keep listening to like whatever you come up with. Like, every video is exciting to me. Every time like I'm hanging out with you, it's exciting, because it's like, you know, I feel like, you know, you're like me, you're one of my kind. Let's wrap it up here. You know, again, in all structure, right? Like if you're gonna start doing this stuff, the most important thing is going to be like figuring out like when you want to record. But you need to remember, you need to record every day. You got to commit to it, and you got to be like, even though there are things happening around me, I'm just gonna make the time and I'm gonna do it. The next thing that I would say is you don't have to worry about everything like being like great at once. You know, you can film again somewhere else. You'll probably have better like footage, you know, outside. You'll probably have better things come to mind. So bring that in and then stitch the video together. If you have bad takes, you know, if you stumble over your words, if you're, you know, doing weird stuff on camera that, you know, makes you feel like, oh, this video sucks, like, don't worry too much. It's not the same as like failing in real life. You can cut that out. And if you really have like a lot of trouble with it, I would hire help. You know, maybe take public speaking classes, or, you know, if I make a course on how to be an influencer, sign up for it, because I'll probably know exactly what you went through and I can help you out. In fact, some of my gym friends are asking me for that right now, and it's interesting because like I'll see like where they are with their own journey, and I'll be like, oh, you're probably here, you should probably focus on this. So I feel like I could help someone out like in the future. And as you record everything, you're documenting it, and you will naturally find passion, and you'll find things that you're really interested in, and you can talk about that. So that's step 3. And then step 4 and 5, I would say again, like, don't worry about like mistakes. They're part of you being human. Be relatable. That is relatability in some ways. That's built in. Like, everybody's searching for things, and you're on this platform talking about things that are mass appealing anyway. So lean into it. You just basically need to be honest about, like, you know, what it is that you're really passionate about. You'll find it naturally. You'll find these emotions naturally, and you'll be able to film them, and you should film them, and then stitch it all together, and eventually that is structured with the right structure, and you're going to be able to be like, oh, okay, this is good video. And then you just keep going. That's it, right? Like, you just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep making videos, and don't worry too much about audience. Don't worry too much about whether people viewed your video or not. You have to have thick skin. A lot of these videos, they're probably never going to take off, but what will change is that you keep getting better, and eventually, like, one of those days, like when you least expect it, like a video is going to take off because everything came together at the right moment, and it's going to get you a lot of views, and then you'll be able to continue sustaining that because like you worked pretty hard to build up your core audience, and they're loving you, and they're helping, you know, other new people find you, and your videos continue to like build up. If you like this video and, you know, you want to like learn more about my day-to-day, you should follow me. You want to like be committed to my journey, you want to like subscribe to like kind of see like how my life plays out, follow me. And you know, leave your comments, like, what are you struggling with social media? Put it here in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.